Okay, I was going to hold off showing these four robots till I could find their boxes or their blister cards or whatever, because they're separated from them. That happens a lot where I'd move things around in the Robothut. The robot gets moved to a new shelf and the box stays behind something on another shelf. They're out here, I just don't know where. And yes, I could look through 4,000 pictures in my catalog book that I keep in the house and see what the box or the blister card or whatever they came with look like, but that sounds like work and I'm out here to have fun, or at least I thought I was. So I grabbed cue number 1, see this, get cue number 1, cue number 2, cue number 3, cue number 4, and stuck batteries in it, and it didn't work. It made a really cool sound. I like the sound chip in it. It's not too loud, and it's mechanical sounding and space sounding instead of a voice yelling at you. But it wasn't working. So I opened it up, and man, what a hassle that was. I guess I probably spent an hour on it, getting into it through all of the wiring. You go, how could there be much wiring there? It's just a bump and go with a sound chip. And well, no, there's also lights in each hand, and lights in the chest, and these are old enough that they're no LEDs, they're actually lights. And then there's a sequencer switch that sequences the arm flashing back and forth. Anyway, was a split 10-tooth gear, and then there was a split large flat gear with a smaller, either an 8 or a 10, I can't remember now, tooth gear attached to it. And what a pain to get in there. So if the batteries hold up, I'm going to go ahead and tear one of these apart so you can get a peek inside, because I've put batteries in those three, none of them work. I have batteries in this guy so I can show you what it looks like when it is working. A little bit of room here. And the only writing that's on the robot's right there, and I can't read it with my eyes, but maybe the camera will make it big enough where we can. And this is the on-off switch. The batteries go in the head area of all of these. Cool sound, huh? So it's got these alternately flashing lights here, and this really cool lit screen there, and you got your bump and go drive there. And this doesn't go so fast that you have to chase it all over. Okay. So that's what this one looks like when it's working. Have I left batteries in any of these? No. I don't know which one I want to open. Why not number 2, huh? Why not? Let's open up. Okay, I left batteries in number 2, so I guess that's what I'm going to be doing. So here's the on-off switch. See, we have the sound. We have one light. We've got some lights there, but it's not going. And the bump and go's not running. And that generally means a split gear has bound things up, or more than one split gear. So the first part here was pretty easy. Just to, or at least it was on the other one. Gotta get a smaller Phillips. Gotta release this front first. Get that screw out. And of course, all the screws are different sizes. That always makes you wonder why someone wouldn't design a toy with one screw so they could maybe make it cheaper, you know? Okay, got the front piece off, got the back piece off. See, we're no closer to getting inside yet. Now it's just a block. So now we go to the shoulder screws, and that one won't turn it. So let's try a bigger Phillips. There we go. There is just going to be a mishmash of wiring in here. It's unbelievable. If this is like the first one, like number 1, and I suspect it will be. It's like they used a cam for the light sequencing that was in some other toy that did another function as well. So they did utilize an existing cam. Okay. So now it all starts pulling apart. Okay. This one's a little bit neater on the inside, but not a whole lot. Let's move the camera in even closer. Okay, so depending on which gears are split, the one on the motor seems to be okay. And the number one, I had to replace this large gear. You can see on the top it's got a small gear in there. The small one was cracked, and these work together. In fact, the way this is designed as a slip clutch. There's a spring pushing this large one against the little one. And that way, I guess if something bound up, it wouldn't break. Here's the light sequencer system. So as this cam moved around, but I can't move the cam because everything is bound up. I believe that little one down in there is cracked, and that's what's keeping that from turning. And on the first one, this upper gear, oh yeah, this one's cracked too. If the camera can see that discoloration right there. See if I can turn that so you can see it a little bit better. I can't really. I'm gonna have to tear it apart. There we go. That dark area is showing you the crack. So that's a 10 tooth, and that's going to have to be replaced. Now let's see if things move easier down here. Let's turn it on and see. So this big gear is turning, but the next little one down is not, which was the same problem that I had with the other robot number 1, Q1. And then in order to get to it, I mean, the way they assembled this thing is kind of wacky. There was one metal gear in this entire toy, at least there was in number 1, and was down inside this itsy bitsy bump and go drive. The one that's pressed on the end of the shaft was a brass gear. Just crazy. I mean, that's just about the only gear that you would have expected to have been plastic for sure. But no. So we get into here. See, and that's got this a little bit loose now. And when we go to put it back together, we need to remember that this longer side goes back towards the motor. And get it in there the wrong way, and you'll never get the robot to fit back together again. I think they got diodes in here, and in this case, someone has soldered and bridged the diode out of the circuit. So originally, they were doing QC and changes to the design right on the build line. The electronics guys were sticking in a diode to drop the voltage or isolate it to the sound chip. And then they were having problems with that working, and they've bypassed it out but left the diode in. It means the toy not only was probably as hard to build as I'm having trouble getting it apart as it was to get them off the production line so they could sell them. Okay. So now we've got this mess apart. Yeah, that's got a crack in it. It's got a crack in it too, right there. So that's not going to work with a crack in it. And the other one, this gear here, was okay. Yeah, that feels okay. And the one on the motor feels okay. So, just look at that lovely mess. Anywho, thought you might like to see inside these guys, because I actually like the way they look. I like the way they sound, and they're a cool little bot. But I'll have to replace, I'm going to replace this 2-part gear with a slip clutch with a 1-part gear, so I won't have a slip clutch anymore, because I have some of these flat gears with this small one already attached. And then one new 10-tooth gear to get pressed on there. And I'll stick it back together and should be good to go.